Hi everyone, I'm Benjamin Dudai, the Spotlight Kid. Welcome to another episode of Album Explorations. Today, I want to put the spotlight on an absolutely classic album from Teutonic heavyweights Scorpions and their brilliant 1975 album, In Trance. So, In Trance was the band's third studio album and second with guitar wizard Uli John Roth. This album would see the guys head down a more direct hard rock path, leaving behind some of the slightly proggy krautrock leanings of their previous albums. Now, don't get me wrong, I like their debut Lonesome Crow and love even more the follow-up and first album with Roth, Fly to the Rainbow. But I feel they really launched into the stratosphere with In Trance. For this album, they had the lineup of Klaus Meine on vocals, Rudolf Schenker on rhythm guitars, Francis Buchholz on bass, and Rudy Lenners on drums, and one of the all-time greatest lead guitarists, Mr. Uli John Roth. He, of course, also sang lead vocals on Dark Lady and Sun in My Hand. All the members of the band also sang backup vocals here too, of course. It's also interesting to note that the album cover design would be the first of several to be censored in various markets. The photo showing the young woman crouching down and reaching for Uli's famous white Fender Stratocaster with her breast exposed obviously ruffled a few feathers. But of course, it's nothing compared to the terrible cover that the album Virgin Killers would have only a year later. That was also censored and replaced with this band shot. These guys, of course, would continue to push the boundaries of taste and acceptance with their album covers, throughout their career, or at least throughout the 80s anyway. So anyway, enough said about all that stuff. What about the music? Well, let's dive into the sonic pleasure that is In Trance. Track 1, Dark Lady. So we get a few seconds of guitar distortion to then be launched headfirst into the molten lake of rocking early metal riffage and Uli doing his Hendrixy wah descending guitar line. Without easing up, the verse comes straight in and we have Uli singing the leads. Now, as amazing as he is on the guitar, unfortunately, he's not a great singer. But here, sort of as he would later on in his solo stuff as well, Electric Sun, he manages to sound good anyway because the song is just so damn killer. It's killer. And it's, it's rocking harder than a meth head in your grandmother's favorite rocking chair, for God's sake. The verse kicks over into the chorus and those vocal wails to be, sort of followed by an awesome dual guitar line. Again, these guys have got to be one of the early users of that dual style that, Thin Lizzy and Wishbone Ash get a lot of credit for. These guys are definitely in the mix, at least on this track anyway. The bass lines are rocking, drumming is solid, and of course when Uli opens up to the solo, you can see why he gets the Hendrix comparisons. But his playing is heavier than Hendrix, and he moves outside of the blues feel and all the time. He's drawing on his other influences like flamenco and Middle Eastern music, for example. I'll tell you a little secret. Personally, I like Uli's playing more than Hendrix. I think he's the better guitarist. But hey, don't tell anyone. I know for a lot of people that is absolutely sacrilegious what I just said, so that's just how I feel about it. I just love Uli's playing. Anyway, that brings us to track 2, In Trance. So this one gently creeps in with a nice mystical sounding guitar chord, gentle percussion, and some sort of maybe strings or organ, I'm not sure, playing a sustained note hovering above to create a nice tension. Klaus comes in dreamily, singing a beautiful melody over the verse, and then eventually leading to the great, simple, but classic, catchy chorus, with the band providing the beautiful harmonies. The verse returns with Uli giving us some nice choral variations gently underneath the vocals. The chorus returns and then moves into a lead guitar passage and solo. You know, I gotta say, Uli has to have one of the coolest guitar tones and feels of all time. At least it does to me. You know, he has the epitome of that cranked up, overdriven Strat sound, and I absolutely love it. I love that sound. I'm a big Strat fan, and you know, Uli keeps it simple, you know, just driving the amps hard and playing loud, and it sounds fantastic. So after the next chorus, we get a brief harmonized sort of vocal a cappella passage, you know, leading into the epic and uplifting outro riff that has that sort of slow moving guitar line and Klaus wailing in the background, and the bass is sort of percolating away underneath. It's just super cool stuff. Track 3, Life's Like a River. So this one starts with Uli playing this descending guitar line. It sounds like a waterfall sort of spraying into a river or something. It lands on a slow groove, and we get more lead tastiness. Eventually it sits into a super chill, very Hendrixy style progression, with Klaus giving another memorable vocal line through the verse. The organ builds underneath, as does Uli's, you know, variations on top, leading back to more of that intro lead passage. Again, the tone is so damn good. The bass and drums are holding it all down with, you know, a classy efficiency as well. We move through another verse and then launch into the rocking and epic churning movement of the chorus. Here the bass is playing a sort of melodic line that carries it forward, with Klaus singing powerfully above, punctuated with metal guitar chord bursts. We get a dreamy solo that builds and the music lifts, and we end with that epic chorus in just pure perfection. Track 4, Top of the Bill. So this one kicks off as a more straight ahead rocker. You know, we get into the riffing and lead lines. You know, this song is about rock stars who've passed their prime, and the band and Klaus sort of rock it out in a fairly raunchy style through the verse. But then they go almost into a sort of Queen-like bombast briefly. It all cycles around again with Uli, you know, dropping his little slices of gold around the place. And then after the bombastic section, we get what sounds like to me a short, hippie, Woodstock-esque jam thing, but you know, as if it was played by metalheads. If you see what I mean. Uli is sort of more playing explosive like guitar noise than actually soloing, but it works and it's just damn cool. It sounds awesome. Then we go on to track 5, Living and Dying. So this one starts with a kind of doomy epicness with the simple but dramatic guitar passage intro. This falls away to the verse, with Klaus giving us an emotional performance that leads to another powerhouse of the chorus. It's so simple but works so well. We repeat the intro section with some guitar variations again, and Klaus returns to his story in the verse and builds once again to the rock-solid metal heft of the chorus. A short but sweet track that doesn't mess about and gets straight down to business and just sounds amazing doing it. Then we get to the fantastic Robot Man. This one kicks off in a very 60s rock groove feel and vibe, at least it seems that way to me. We get the kind of raunchy Klaus on this one. The verses are a bit more straightforward melodically compared to the other songs, but it rocks nonetheless, and the chorus is totally catchy and fun, with Klaus's voice kind of affected to sound robot-like, I guess, and the band intensity lifting up as well. Uli, of course, is dropping his little ornamentations all over the track as usual, which just adds another dimension of cool to everything. Uli gives us another whammy bar heavy solo and continues into the last chorus, dropping in dive bombs and sound effects and showing us again how damn cool he is. So that brings us along to track 7, Evening Wind. Epic hanging metal chords and choral vocals open up this one before falling away, sounding like the wind has blown the band away onto a Led Zeppelin style acid trip journey or something. The bass line has an almost dazed and confused vibe, with the two guitars playing competing lines over the top, both sort of going in different directions but staying on the journey, and Klaus holding it together vocally. He gives us another impassioned performance throughout and sounds fantastic, as he always does. The guitars build and become more of a united front, eventually sort of rising into the chorus. It continues with that late 60s, early 70s spaced out hippie vibe, but with more edge and attack to it. They give us an elegant vocal and guitar harmony line that builds to the end of the song, with the guitars sort of randomly soloing through it, and it goes out with an epic feel that's eventually faded out that way. Another killer track. Next is track 8, Sun in My Hand. So, stomping bass and drums and Uli's guitar histrionics kick this one off. Then we get a sort of bluesy shuffle and Uli once again grabs the microphone. This time his vocals don't quite work as well for me. But, it's not a train wreck, and there's a certain charm to it and to his vocals in general. Even though he's not a great singer, most of the time he still delivers it in a way that's fairly enjoyable. The guitars here are, bluesy Hendrix worship throughout this one, but in a very tasty way, and without sounding ripped off or unoriginal, even with the influence written on his puffy sleeves. Anyway, we get a spaced out, tasty, bluesy solo and another cycle. It builds up and we get what sounds like to me kind of like a sea shanty like guitar line. I don't know, maybe not sea shanty, but I don't know, it reminds me of something I can't quite put my finger on. But anyway, it definitely has a bit of a quirky weirdness about it, but I still enjoy how it breaks up the song. Uli opens up as the song builds towards the end, and the bass line perks up too as they go out strong and united to the end. Very, very cool. Track 9, Longing for Fire. So here we open up with a distinct bubbling bass groove, which, almost sounding a little Geddy Lee-like, actually, to me anyway. The guitars keep it simple, playing chords over the top, with Klaus singing a very melodic, somewhat hippie-esque verse. They continue this way through the chorus, but when the solo comes in, it lifts the intensity immediately. All of this is repeated, and after the chorus, we get another solo, which is even tastier. Another short, straight to the point song that again delivers all the ingredients that make this a great album. Finally, we get to track 10, Nightlights. So this instrumental starts with some nice dreamy space rock played with a slow meandering groove. The guitar tone is so sweet and it glides over the top, somewhat directionless. Eventually though, the guitars join forces to deliver a dual line that is as focused as a laser, and the mood sort of shifts through the passage, but eventually returns to that dreamy, meandering vibe and soloing to finish the album. It's definitely cool and I never skip it, but the Scorpions are so great at writing memorable, catchy and epic songs. It does feel like a bit of a waste to have a meandering jam song to finish this great album. Anyway, it's a small gripe because, you know, I do enjoy the track and I never skip it. And, you know, I can always listen to Uli wail away on his guitar. The guy is a master. So, you know, I still like the track. It just seems a bit of a funny way to end the album to me. So that brings us to the end of In Trance. So how would I rate this album? Well, because I feel that Night Lights, while very enjoyable, is a bit of a weaker way to end the album, it means that for me it just falls short of being perfect. The production is also a little boxy sounding at times, a bit dated. But, you know, that being said, overall, I still think the album as a whole sounds fantastic. I love every track on this album. I love the performances from all of the members of the band, and especially Uli and Klaus. Just absolutely stellar stuff all around. So today I'm going to give it an almost perfect score of 9.5 out of 10. I love this album and I would highly recommend it to any fans of hard rock and early proto-heavy metal, and really anyone who just likes great songwriting and unique, untouchable guitar playing. Okay guys, so that's it for today. Thanks for helping me shine the spotlight on another amazing classic album. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed that. And also, you know, feel free to check out my previous album explorations. There's plenty more coming, so stay tuned. So from me, the Spotlight Kid, thanks for watching, keep it metal, and see you next time.